Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Thursday morning, not here on a beautiful walk and talk. I love seeing you guys out here like this. This is great. I am training ambitiously to be a private pilot, which is very rewarding. I go into my check ride tomorrow, both oral and flying, and I hope by this time on Saturday by 1 p.m., weather permitting, I'll be a private pilot. That's pretty cool. Been working on this for a while. It's finally happening. Just moving into a dream that I've always wanted to do, and truly exhilarating to fly. Be up there. I'm flying little Piper Warriors, all analog, very simple, but really cool, nimble planes that are very easy to fly. And so once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and get my instrument and commercial rating, and just get all my ratings and be able to fly. Kind of something extra to do in my life, and something to add value to others, something to have adventure for. So it's cool, super cool. I'm really fortunate to be here. So hey, today I just want to talk to you about having a plan. Are you ready? Yes, we could use the word prepper. Prepper brings up these images of doomsday people, right? Stockpiling guns and ammo. And that's fine. That's one extreme of it. But another extreme of that is not doing anything at all. Not having any readiness plan to disasters that are in your area. So in the mountains, that's fires, right? In coastal towns, that's hurricanes, right? Down through the southern states, maybe tornadoes. But beyond natural disasters that happen, unforeseeable, is those things that happen culturally, just based upon history, right? We're seeing a lot of history repeat itself as we witness the dollar collapse. See, there's a plane I got out here at my school. Isn't that cool? Where'd it go? Yeah, one of the Pipers that I fly. But yeah, we're watching the dollar collapse as bank after bank. I was reading the other day that 186 banks are at risk of closing. Woo! We've already seen a couple close, and that's scary. All that stuff's connected, right? We don't live in a vacuum. It's a global economy. We've already been putting sanctions on Russia and poking that angry bear. And this psyop of Ukraine and all the money that we're sending over there, and Abrams tanks I was reading. I mean, France is in unrest, is in unrest. Germany seems to be targeted. Australia and Canada are about police states at this point. Some of the stuff that's going on there, and all that's just kind of leaching through the world as the deep state just continues to push their nefarious agendas of money laundering, child trafficking, and pedophilia. Truly evil. So, there's better channels to watch for all that and get educated on it. I talk to you about self-sabotage and really leveling up and living your best life and what that means. Who are you as a man or woman? How to stop focusing on these behaviors that own us, right? That's what everybody does. I was talking to a great client last night, such a nice fella, just a good man. And he, like so many, just focused on those behaviors, right? This is what's happening in my life. I got to control it. I got to fix it. I got to figure out this behavior. And so many of us, I don't know why it's just not commonplace to stop and go, wait a minute, why are those behaviors even here? Why am I smoking 2 packs a day? Why am I drinking? Does this even taste good? Remember the first time you tasted alcohol or coffee when you were a kid? You know, hey, Mom, Dad, you wanted to try your dad's whiskey or your mom's coffee or whatever. You took a sip of that and you're just like, oh, God. And you thought to yourself, why would you drink this? Coffee is like burnt water. And whiskey is like acid. It's horrible. And what did they tell you? Well, it's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste. Wine was like sour grapes. It was nasty. And now we consume it like crazy. And we're just sitting here going, we never stop and say, hey, why do we have all these behaviors? Why did I just go off on my child or my spouse? Why did I sabotage that promotion? Why is it I lose 20 pounds and I felt so good that I couldn't go anymore? Right? All of that is self-sabotage because you're reaching your upper limit. And your upper limit is a program. It's all a program. Isn't that right? Isn't that crazy? Now I sound like a conspiracy theorist, right? Speaking of which, conspiracy theorist is a label used to keep you from asking critical questions. Conspiracy, break that down. You are conspiring with others about a theory you have. Hey, I've got this theory. I got this theory that what's going on in Ukraine may not be everything they're telling us. I have this theory that this whole trans agenda isn't about just letting people show up the way they want. Why are they showing it to kids? Right, you're conspiring about a theory. So maybe we should all be conspiracy theorists at some point? I don't know. Just a thought. So yeah, self-sabotaged. Are you self-sabotaging yourself and your future by not being ready? That's what this is about. Do you have a plan? At the minimum, you need a bug out bag, right? Just Google that. There's so many great guys that will show you how to put together just an emergency bug out bag. Keep it in your car, flashlight, blanket, gallon of water. But more importantly than that, because where are you going to bug out to? Most of us live very on-grid on these cell phones and internet, and we live in properties that you just turn a button, push a knob, flip a switch, and lights come on, and water flows, and everything's beautiful. And we've just kind of been lured into this false sense of security, like that's always going to happen. And you think about it, we've only lived these modern lives for what? A couple hundred years, tops? The way we live now for, what, 40 years? Our ancestors didn't live this way. Their life, Google some of these guys living off grid. Their whole life is farming, tending to their crops, tending to their animals, chopping wood, making sure they've got heat. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about good people, like that are just running their homes all day. All they do is make sure they've got food, water, maybe their solar panels are cleared of snow. That's where they're getting their electricity. Their water source is protected. It's all about protecting their sources. Where do they get their electricity? Where do they get their water? Where do they get their food? And then a good night's sleep. Maybe play the guitar at night. I think at some point we're going back to that. And those of you that don't know how to hunt and gather, at least a little bit, man, you guys got to be prepping big time. If you don't know how to dispatch an animal or even know where an animal is and feed yourself and cook it and start a fire, God, that sounds so extreme to say in these modern cities we live in. But you think about the population really exploded at what point? When did the population just go crazy? It's the invention of electricity. Once we had electricity, the planet just doubled and doubled and doubled. All these people showed up. Because it made life easy, right? We lived longer. It was truly a convenience. Electricity is probably one of the biggest inventions of our time. So what happens if the switch goes off? What happens if your car just stops? What do you do? So I'm not here to spread fear, not at all. Actually, that makes me scared, which is what makes me take action. And that action needs to be just having a plan. Having a plan. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your friends. Just ask a simple question. Hey, what happens if there was talks of a dirty bomb going off in Russia? Pretty common, really. Again, historically speaking. Hey, brother. You know, what happens if civil unrest? I saw a lot of civil unrest in 2020 with the whole George Floyd things and the Black Lives Matter stirring everything up, getting everybody all riled up. You know, and this deep state presidency we're in. You know, civil unrest, man, tear gas being thrown around. How do you prepare for that? Get out of that, get your family out of that. Hey. And be safe, right? So your next level after bug out bag, which is really just a get home bag, right? If you run out of gas or run off the road or the roads are blocked, after you have a bug out bag, have a shelter in place plan. Shelter in place. What would you do? How do you live in your shelter for 30 days if it doesn't have utilities? So you need food, shelter, a way to handle waste management. That's a huge deal. Yeah, you got to figure out what to do with the poop. Way to start a fire, to have cooking in your home. There's a channel called City Prepping. Guy is really good. No fear. Very pragmatic. Does incredible reviews on equipment, how to have a little solar, how to have a generator. And he'll just help you. He's got a guide. I think it's free. Cityprepping, I think .com. Just Google City Prepping. A lot of guys out there running that. How to protect your family. And it's not 10,000 rounds and 100 guns. You only got one finger. You know, defense is like kind of the last thing. You know, maybe have start off with a baseball bat if you don't like guns. Right? A lot of people don't like guns. I get it. All you really need is a shotgun and about 100 shells. You don't need to get overly proficient in weapons handling if it's not your thing. But if somebody starts beating on your door, you need to have something. Honestly, the best way to handle that is to give them a little gift bag. Hey, I have nothing here for you, but here you go. Here's a little bag with a food bar and bottled water, and wish them on their well. But you know, things were to stay down long enough in prolonged unrest, i.e. civil war or whatever, you know, that wouldn't work. So anyway, you got to perform at your level. You got to do something. So I'm just recommending 30 days, food, shelter, clothing, cooking in your shelter as things just kind of shift. And then get to know a farmer, right? Know where your food's coming from. Get out there on the land. If you want any type of class, look up Jason Mars. I mess up his last name. Marsteiner. Jason. He runs Survival University. The Survival University. I think it's .com. TheSurvivalUniversity.com. He's in Colorado Springs. He does survival classes. They're incredible. He's got this piece of land. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning out there. I've been several times, met a lot of good people, made friendships out there. And he's got classes starting at, I don't know, $150. His 5-day survival class is epic. It's $500. $500. You go out there, you camp. He'll show you 5 or 6 ways to make a fire, how to use your knife and a ferro rod, how to dispatch an animal, how to filter water, how to make a shelter if you get caught out in the rain, some minor emergency stuff. And he's got classes that go all the way up to super technical. I think his biggest class is a 50-day survival class. And you live out there in a primitive shelter for 50 days. And he brings in a helicopter and shows you emergency medical, like wilderness wilderness medical and advanced fish catching techniques, and guy's really brilliant. So there's a lot of these people that are out there that'll show you this stuff. You know, you can learn a lot on YouTube, but you can really learn a lot by getting involved, right? I mean, you really need experience, right? You got to get your hands dirty. But you can give a small amount of time to this, and I'm just encouraging you to have this plan in place. Begin the conversation, and remember, if you know, I've had a lot of people say, "Well, I don't have military training, or I'm not as skilled as you, Robin, or you know, whatever." You can always compare and compete with others, but at the end of the day, everybody's got some type of skill that's needed in a village or a tribe, right? You may not be all battle armored up with an AR and a battle helmet and a vest and oh, that's cool. Helicopter's taking off. That's such a cool helicopter. I got a helicopter. You may not be all geared up for that, but that's all right. I mean, that's probably more of a man thing. The more masculine alpha males are probably out there in the front, as we should be, by the way. But not all people are built for that. Not even all men are built for that. That's all right. You know, you've got to hunt. You got to, you know, there's hunters and skinners and gatherers and there's healers, and the tribe needs everything. Learning how to barter and trade. There's defense. There's food production, skinning animals. There's all kinds of things. Gathering water, and tribes used to function like this. This is how our forefathers functioned. It was in clans. So anyway, you can go down endless rabbit trails in this conversation, and I have. Admittedly, I like it. It's cool. I was raised like Tom Sawyer, out in the woods and just connected to the land and the animals, and that's kind of in me. I like it, and I like other people that have that. Living in Colorado for 3 years was an absolute dream. I'd like to get back to that. But I'm in Florida right now, learning how to be a pilot and getting my pilot ratings, which is cool. A little flat, but nice and warm. Love the ocean. So, but everywhere I am, my head's on a kind of a figurative swivel, right? Looking for danger. What's out there? You know, literally and figuratively. And I've got a plan for being out here in Florida. And I've got a plan for when I'm out flying. And I've got a plan for, you know, connections with other people in different parts of the country and in other countries. I'm considering a Mexican residency. I'm looking into how do I get residency in Mexico. So, like I said, I'm into it. But my main focus in this life is to support and help others really rise into who they are. Stop this brutal self-sabotage that just owns you, right? Your physical pillar of strength is your absolute most important. Physical with, you know, health is the new wealth. If you are fat or sick or slow, that's going to be a problem. Get yourself healthy. Get yourself healthy. And if you've got self-sabotaging behaviors around that, reach out to me. That's an emotional thing tied back to childhood almost every time. It's not genetic, like so many people say. That's inaccurate. It's not genetic. Yes, we do inherit some pretty horrible things often, not just physically, and there is a true spirit of infirmity that can be cast out of you and spoken to and pulled out. I've done that many times, and it works. It works. So reach out to me or find help somewhere, but step in. Inaction is just not an option for you, because you're just a liability if that's who you are and that's how you're showing up. So reach out to me at robinreedauthor.com. That's my website. If you go / epic life, one word, epic life, in front of that or after that, you can download my free book, Epic Life. How to get what you want without sacrificing your soul. It kind of resonates, right? Sometimes when we want to get something, really have these desires in us, we feel like we have to sacrifice. And while everything has a cost, that word sacrifice, how many times do we want money, but yet we see people that are wealthy and feel like they're just soulless. It's like they just sacrificed their soul for their money, which is also a program in them and in us. And wow, it's all programs. So guys, turn off the TV, turn off media, connect to good people like on YouTube that are showing up, that are practicing what they teach, that are out here building their pillars of strength, that have a spiritual connection of any kind, that are showing up in love and in power and in strength and wanting to help their fellow man, and are ultimately have a realistic approach to what's going on in the world based upon his story, because history repeats itself. Sadly, we don't learn. We learn, but painfully. Which leads me, lean into your pain, right? This is uncomfortable. Find other people to support you and support them. Don't be a vampire, right? Enter into a reciprocal relationship with good parity, right? Have a nice infinity loop of exchange. Give, don't just take, right? Take care of yourself, get a plan, and just get into the conversation. Just ask yourself, what happens if that light switch doesn't work? It's crazy. I mean, you just think, wow, yeah, how would I bathe? How would I eat? It really turns on places of your brain. But here's the cool thing. If you do this, here's my promise. You'll go through some fear. You have some negative emotions come up. Even I do. I go through sometimes days where I'm just like, oh man, I got to shut down. I got to recenter. I got to get back to what's important. I got to get my feet on the ground. Once a day, guys, take your shoes off and put your bare feet on the ground and remind yourself that you're standing on a planet spinning at 1,000 miles per hour and hurtling through the galaxy. You are standing on infinite power. And we forget that. We just get all, I do, but I get all floaty sometimes. I'm like, man, I gotta bring it back down. Earth is my home. This is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be here, and so are you. Yeah, so get that plan. But here's my promise. If you do this, it will really increase your confidence. Since I've been planning and being ready, my confidence is just super high because I feel skilled. I feel ready. Nobody can be ready for everything, right? Unforeseen occurrence befalls us all, I think is what Proverbs said. Old Solomon, he was a wise one. Unforeseen occurrence befalls us all. That's true. But have a plan. Show up with your loved ones. Have these conversations. And if they don't want to have it, move on. Move on. War is coming on one way or the other. And to not admit that or have that conversation or acknowledge it on some level is just narcissistic self-sabotage. Fortunately, just for you. It won't affect me. Hey, I got to wave at some people. That's kind of a fun little feature. I like that. Man, thanks for showing up, guys. A lot of you guys here. I appreciate that. Drop a comment. Do a like. Share this with others. Let's get people in the conversation. You're so needed. And we just need you in this dialogue. It's important. It's life. It's life or death, figuratively or literally. Heaven and hell is not some distant place of reward or punishment. It is right here on earth. this crazy spaceship ride we're all on, 1,000 miles an hour, hurtling through the galaxy. That is mind-boggling. And yet everything feels so still. And it's not true. Everything is in motion. Constant, chaotic motion. Even the most tangible solid is made up of atoms just spinning and ricocheting all over the place. That's why I love what, I think it was Nikola Tesla that said, think in terms of vibration, frequency, and energy, rather than what is or what isn't. Everything is a frequency. Love, and different kinds of love. But love is love and God. Those are two words that mean something different, I think, for every single person. Our language is limited. Our language is limited in love. And languages are disappearing, right? And on the war of language, there's things we can't say. Political correctness. That is nothing more than the war on language and how we communicate. Because you can't say a woman is a woman now. You know, it's some type of ethereal thing. You know, you can't just speak and convey ideas. You get canceled. Anyway, I'm going long. Love you guys. Thanks for showing up here. Love each other. Love yourself. Love God. Have a plan. And most importantly, know in your heart, know right here in your soul, there's something special, unique to you that on this day, on this time, that has never happened before and will never happen again. You are sacred. This moment is sacred. Everything slows down and speeds up kind of all at the same time. Anyway, I'm getting esoteric on you. Have a plan. If you don't, you are self-sabotaging yourself. Be your own rescue. Nobody is coming to save you. All right. Love you guys. I'm going to sign off for now. Go prep for my check ride tomorrow. Isn't that exciting? I got my check ride tomorrow morning, pending weather. You always got to say that when you're flying. Pending weather. I know it's pending weather. Geez. I'm not flying an Airbus. I'm flying a little Piper Warrior with analog gauges. The whole thing shouldn't work, but it does. That's why they call it the miracle of flight. It's truly incredible. So yeah, by tomorrow around noon, 1 o'clock, I should be a private pilot. And then it's off to commercial and instrument ratings. Pretty cool. Anyway, again, love you guys. I got to roll. I'll see you.